Good morning and welcome to Farm Factor. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom. On today's show, Kyle Bauer visits with Taff Hughes with U.S. Custom Harvesters. Then enjoy this week's Kansas Soybean update. Next, he catches up with Tom Buis with Growth Energy. Then it's this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update, and we'll end with Plain Talk featuring Kyle and Duane. Stay with us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Grain Sorghum. Growers working together. Find out more at kansasgrainsorghum.org.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Kyle and Taff Hughes discuss the issues custom harvesters have with their labor force.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer. I have the opportunity to visit with Taff Hughes. He's with U.S. Custom Harvesters. Just as a general overview, Taff, let's talk about what the reason for having U.S. Custom Harvesters is.
U.S. Custom Harvesters is a member-based organization. Obviously, we serve about 400 independent custom harvester members from all over the country, not up and down the wheat belt, but on the East Coast and the West Coast both. Silage guys involved, California, Ohio, but the majority of our membership obviously is in the Midwest that travel from Texas to Canada.
There are a lot of issues that come into play with custom harvesters, all the way from traffic laws to labor laws to environmental laws.
Of course, that's one of our biggest concerns, over-regulation, just like most of the farming industry. Labor is a huge concern, just over-regulation. We have to rely on a lot of H-2A labor from foreign countries, and we'd sure like to work. We are working on a more usable, friendly program for that.
I understand that you're developing a strategic plan.
Yes, something we've worked on since 2014, just put into place our plan for 2016 through 2020 just this last January at our annual convention, and we're moving forward with that and looking at developing a development task force so we can just go through with it, keep this plan viable.
Is it fair to ask what some of the initiatives might be or some of the areas that need attention?
Well, our biggest initiative we put together in 2014 was to be a leader and an influencer in the labor. We call it the labor crisis, make sure so that we can have enough labor to provide a safe food source for the public, and that's one of our biggest concerns.
You know, as I follow the harvest through our coverage area, truly imported labor, people who are not native to this country, is a huge portion of the labor pool.
Oh, huge, probably 70%, maybe greater. Of course, we have young men come from all over the world for a great experience. You know, it's a great experience to come here, run huge machinery over the vast plains, and then we have people come from different countries, and it's a great opportunity to be financially viable, take money home, and it's worth a lot more to them and get their own businesses going in their own country.
Well, and I'm amazed at how broad of an area, all the way from Australia to Africa to Europe, that I talk to people that come to do the harvest.
Yes, all over. We have a big influx from South Africa, probably the biggest, and works well for them because our money's worth a lot more than theirs. A lot of people from Australia, New Zealand, and Europe, England, Ireland, Wales.
We're visiting with Taff Hughes. He's the president of the U.S. Custom Harvesters Association. This is Kyle Bauer reporting.
Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean update.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
KFRM is one of the largest farm radio stations in the nation, dedicated to informing and entertaining rural listeners from northern Oklahoma to southwestern Nebraska. You can catch KFRM in many ways. Of course, 550 on the AM dial, streaming at KFRM.com or on your smartphone by going to the TuneIn Radio app, or on Ag AM in Kansas on Tuesdays and Facebook every day of the week. KFRM, tune us in. You'll be glad you did.
Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego is driven by the spirit of American ingenuity. Come in for a new Chevrolet car, truck, or SUV. If we don't have exactly what you want, we'll find it for you. And we also have a great selection of used cars. We make sure you have an easy, fun, and transparent sales experience that saves you time and money. But if you want high-pressure salesmen and hours spent in the finance office, you'll just have to go elsewhere. Brown Chevrolet Buick in Wamego. We're making car buying great again. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Soybean Update.
This is the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kevin Scott, a grower from South Dakota who is a member of the governing committee of the American Soybean Association, is joining us. And Kevin, we wanted to talk about Soy Stats and soystats.com. What is that all about?
Well, SoyStats traditionally been a great asset for farmers and leaders trying to get the message out to people who don't necessarily understand what we do in the soybean industry and the numbers that come along with what we produce. For me, personally, I use the SoyStats in a backup for my knowledge base on what we produce in the U.S. And if I'm talking to people who don't have an understanding of that, I don't want to give them the wrong information, and the SoyStats is a great place to go for the accurate information that we can produce.
Accurate in the aspect that if you're just talking to a consumer, you can give them so many facts about what you're able to do and what that soybean is able to do.
Locally, we're focused highly on all the data that we produce, and oftentimes the consumer or the buyer internationally is not necessarily concerned with what's happening outside my window, and that's kind of what farmers like to focus on, and we have the best knowledge of, but we need to know what the industry is doing as a whole as to how we can supply their markets or their needs based on what the national crop is doing, and the SoyStats is a piece of information for that reason.
And for those customers out there who want that product or maybe want to know more about that product, and especially when you're dealing with them in trade, boy, that's important to say, we've got these numbers here to show what we're able to do and why we're able to do it.
Not only the numbers, but the uses that we have for the product, whether it be through biodiesel or ink or any of the industrial uses that we have. People are not sure what a soybean is used for, and we assume that most people know that it's used for feed, but that's not necessarily the case. When we talk to other people, it's awful good to know what that soybean is actually capable of. It's a tremendous crop, and the SoyStats gives us a little bit of a background as to where we use soybeans in the industry worldwide.
SoyStats would not be possible if not for the sponsorships of many, including the Kansas Soybean Commission.
Absolutely, and we are very thrilled with the Kansas Soybean Board as they've supported us for a number of years in that area. So without all of our state affiliates and so forth to supply the money needed for that information, we would not have that asset available to us to use when we're trying to sell the products. And it is critical that we have state sponsorship and national sponsorship of those critical programs for us.
Kevin Scott, a South Dakota grower and a member of the governing committee of the American Soybean Association, has been our guest on the Kansas Soybean Update. It's brought to you by the Kansas Soybean Commission. The Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Learn more at kansassoybeans.org. For Kansas Soybeans, I'm Greg Akagi.
Hope you enjoyed this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Stay with us after the break for more Farm Factor with Kyle and Tom Buis.
I will take action against herbicide-resistant weeds. I will know my weeds, and I will stop them before they go to seed. I will do whatever it takes to give my crops the upper hand, and I will use multiple herbicide sites of action because every action counts. I will take action, this time for all time.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Tarwater Farm and Home has been family-owned and operated since its beginning in 1978. What you need for farm and agriculture, lawn and garden, clothing and footwear, and so much more. You'll be surprised at what you'll find in this huge store. They have what you need and lots of it. So come take a look. You'll discover that customer service is first and foremost. Always has been with the Tarwaters. Tarwater Farm and Home, 4107 North Topeka Boulevard. This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now Kyle and Tom Buis talk about how Growth Energy represents ethanol producers and other supporters of ethanol.
This is Kyle Bauer visiting with Tom Buis. He is with Growth Energy. First of all, Tom, tell us what Growth Energy is and who you are.
We represent the ethanol producers and supporters of ethanol. We have about 90 ethanol plants that are paying members and about 40,000 grassroots supporters to help us advocate and support renewable energy.
Right now, during this time frame, what are some of your strongest initiatives or the thing that takes most of your time and energy?
Well, our focus has been on increasing demand and allowing consumers access to higher blends through the retailers for E15. E15 was approved a few years ago. It's been slow getting into the marketplace, but we've seen a huge development in the last year and more coming where retailers are starting to offer E15. And that's really important because up to this point, consumers haven't been able to buy the product. And we have all the facts on our side. It's cleaner, it's cheaper, and it's higher performing than E10 or natural gasoline. So our big focus is getting that into the marketplace. Let the consumers make the choice. A lot of the retailers are using what they call blenders pumps, which basically gives the consumer a choice. When they pull up there, they can buy E10, which is 87 octane. They can buy E15, which is 88 octane, or they can buy up to E80 or E85 blend if they have a flex fuel vehicle. The reason E15 is so important is virtually any car in America in the car park can use it. 90% are allowed to use E15. Every car manufactured since 2001, which is, a decade and a half ago, can legally use E15. It's cheaper than E10. It's higher octane. It's cleaner. The more ethanol you put in the tank, the less carcinogens you put in from the fuel mix that's provided from the refinery. So we think it's a great product. We know it's a great product. It's great for consumers. It's great for the environment, but it's also an answer to some of the challenges we're facing in the farm economy. America's farmers are the best in the world by far of any sector at being able to produce. In fact, they overproduce. We're sitting here with a 2 billion bushel corn crop overhanging the market, 2 billion bushels more than can be used. If you go to E15 nationwide, that will use about 2 billion bushels of corn. When you get supply and demand in balance, farmers get a fair, profitable price at the marketplace. If you have this huge overhead, it depresses farmers. And corn, being the largest crop in the nation, is kind of the king of raising or lowering commodity prices. And so if the corn crop is down, it brings down others. I like to use the term, a rising tide lifts all boats, a sinking ship brings them down in their wake. We have gone over into the decline in farm income, and it's going to be a tough time unless we increase consistent domestic demand for those commodities to add value to.
I'm with Tom Buis. He is with Growth Energy. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
This is Eric Stonestreet, and as many of you know, I love my home state of Kansas. In March, Kansas ranchers lost homes, equipment, and thousands of cattle from the largest wildfires in the state's history. Imagine losing all you have in a fire. Not just your house, but your livelihood. Ranchers are beginning to rebuild, but it will take years and tens of millions of dollars to build back herds, fences, and other infrastructure. Today, I'm asking you to help. Donate what you can and show your support to the ranchers of Kansas. Simply go to kansasfires.com. Your donation is tax deductible and will go to those who need it the most.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Soil is the life of a farm, and for 25 years, SureCrop Liquid Crop Nutrition has helped growers produce abundant quality crops while preserving and improving the soils they steward. SureCrop offers complete soil and plant analysis with cropping recommendations, delivery direct to your on-farm storage, and quality crop nutrition custom blended for your field. Choose SureCrop for the assurance of excellence for your soil. Call today or visit their website for more information. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome back to Farm Factor and the Kansas Farm Bureau Update.
Comments sent to the USTR office this week by the American Farm Bureau Federation outline the priorities of farmers and ranchers when it comes to renegotiating NAFTA. AFBF's Dave Salmonson says agriculture needs the renegotiation effort to protect current market gains and create new ones.
The year before NAFTA came into effect, when we still had the tariffs and other barriers, U.S. agriculture exported $8.9 billion to Canada and Mexico. Now, in 2016, we exported over $38 billion a year. So it really shows that getting rid of these barriers, which NAFTA has done, has had an amazing impact on improving ag trade.
He says the renegotiation effort could improve U.S. dairy trade with Canada, as Canada maintains high tariffs on U.S. dairy and poultry products.
We've made some benefits within the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement to get some new access into Canada. Now we want to see at least that replicated in this negotiation and hopefully more. There's some other issues with Mexico. We'd like greater access for potatoes. There's some barriers there, some fresh fruits. But we hope those also can get resolved in these NAFTA discussions.
Salmonson says other standards that were included in the TPP should also be included in the NAFTA renegotiations to benefit farmers and ranchers.
The primary one was to make sure all three countries are operating under science-based risk assessment analysis to food safety standards like we do. Also, we want to see included is what's called a rapid response mechanism. Cut through a lot of the red tape if products are held up at borders and get a very quick, within 7 days or less, answer to problems and free up shipments. We also have new rules for biotechnology so we can deal with approvals. And we're also proposing to have some remedies for sensitive products.
AFBF looks forward to see what the NAFTA renegotiations bring for the prosperity of American agriculture. Michael Clements, Washington.
Stay with us. We'll be back after the break with Plain Talk.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Person who's involved in ag production and cattle ranching, Bill Rischel here in North Platte, told me about Kansas regenerative medicine. And after talking to Dr. Pope, we did a lot of reading and researching, looking on the internet about it. I guess the thing that impressed me is that he told me, he said, if we don't think it's going to help you, we're not going to do it. I thought that was a very good approach. I'm a former athlete, played college basketball, played overseas after college, had some severe trauma on the right ankle, right knee, joint in my hand also. This brace is what I had to wear all the time. Now I don't wear this during the day. That's a real improvement for me. My knee doesn't bother me. This joint came around quick. It was the first thing I noticed improving. You can see in the background here there's different fish and game that I hunt. The ability to walk was impacting my outdoor endeavors. I think it's really valuable, and encourage anybody that's interested to go down and at least do a consultation with them.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Corn. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Welcome back. Now let's see what Kyle and Duane are up to today on Plain Talk.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer with Plain Talk with Duane Toews.
Kyle Bauer, your fact or fiction question of the day: the human brain, not mine.
The human one.
The human brain has the capacity to hold as much information as the entire internet. Fact or fiction?
Well, it might hold it, but you aren't going to get it back out of there. I'm going with fiction.
It's true.
Come on.
And they're saying that's 10 times more capacity than earlier studies had indicated. So I don't know how they test that. They found some guy that has that photographic memory thing and spits it all back out.
I don't like a lot of your answers, just saying.
You know what? You can take it up with...
who?
Somebody else.
Somebody on the internet?
Somebody on the internet.
Okay. Yeah. Early aircraft throttles had a ball on the end of them. Okay? I mean, lots of throttles had a ball on
or like a hand grip or
right,
something.
So your hand doesn't slip off.
Right.
There,
You also want a piece of steel sticking out the top.
In order to go to full throttle, the pilot had to push the throttle all the way forward to the wall of the instrument panel.
Okay.
Okay? And thus the expression... Balls to the wall. Yeah,
really?
Exactly. You didn't know that, did you, boy?
I did not know that.
Oh.
My wife had a car one time when she was in high school, and being creative as her father and grandfather were, they thought it would be nice to, when the shifter broke off, she had a Ford Pinto, and the shifter thing in the middle broke off. It was a manual transmission. They welded an eye bolt on. So all she had was a little loop
up there.
Loop at the top.
Yeah.
So the upside to that was that none of her friends could steal her car because they didn't know the shift pattern for a Ford Pinto. I mean, you could have ground around.
It wouldn't take you very far along to figure it out.
I mean, you could have ground around long enough to figure it out.
I will tell you, the hardest one I ever drove was a VW Bug many years ago.
Yeah.
To go in reverse, you had to push down on it in order to pull back.
Yeah.
And it showed the pattern, but in order to get it in reverse, you had to push down on it. Talk about one that just not anyone steals.
Yeah, at least not in reverse. They wouldn't.
Have you checked on my horses recently?
On your horses. I did notice that you had taken them to pasture across the lane from me.
Yes. I don't think he ever feeds them when I take him over there.
Well, he doesn't need to. There's grass up to their belly.
Well, but I think he leads them out on the gravel road and doesn't let them eat. Because he charges me by the day.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
And then also, anytime I ride them and they're gone for the day,
he still charges you.
Well, not only charges me double. Because they're more exercise.
In and out fee.
Well, and they're more exercise, so they're eating more when they come back.
It's like parking at the motel. It's that in and out fee when you
when you go in and
motel.
out. Isn't that something though anymore? When when you park a car at a hotel, don't take for granted that it's a nominal fee.
Yeah.
I was in one recently. The parking overnight.
Right.
$78.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Now, you and I stay in a lot of motel hotels that the entire cost of staying in the motel hotel...
$78 or under.
Thanks for joining us. I'm your host, Jamie Bloom, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. See you next week on Farm Factor. We're here every Tuesday on Ag AM in Kansas.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.